but it's how they earn their money too. I would be more impressed if they didn't come from a rich family, and get inheritance, and you've earned all your money. My family don't come from Newport Beach, California. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I say to that. I'm proud of my background. I don't base the love of my family or my parents having to do it, whether my father was a doctor or a lawyer or whatever the fuck he was. He was a simple guy, house painter. That's what he was. Doesn't mean he doesn't have any class. My father had more class than a lot of people that had money growing up. People respected my father. But you got to earn respect to get it back. That's the key. And a lot of these people don't earn respect. They want to buy it. Everything's with the dollar bill. They want to buy their relationships. They want to buy respect. Of course, what self-respecting Filipino is not going to want to be with a guy who is flaunting his money like a carrot in front of a donkey. He's going to attract donkeys. That's what they get, is donkeys. Going for that fucking proverbial carrot. That's all it is. It's shallow. All the richest men in the world, sure, they got women surrounding them. It's not even because they're attracted to a person who has money. They're attracted to the money. What can you do for me? Can you take me out for 5-star dinners? Can you take me out on lots of vacations to different countries? What can you do for me? Can you buy me some nice clothes? What self-respecting poor Filipino is not going to get attracted to that? Let's be real. Am I lying? Hell no, man. It is what it is. You put lipstick on a pig, and guess what? It's still a pig. Give a pig a shitload of money, and it's still going to be a pig. Give an ugly man a shitload of money, and he's still going to be an ugly man. That's life. You can't change who you are. Well, some people can make changes to their life. Yes, they could. But I think internally, you are who you are. And some people have successfully changed their lives to be a better person, but the percentage is so few. If you're an arrogant, if you're a pompous ass, chances are you're always going to be a pompous ass. That's the way I see things. I don't know how you see things, but that is my opinion. Okay, what do we got going today? It's a cloudy morning. We did get a bit of rain the other day, which I needed. Excellent, excellent. Oh God, the neighbor celebrated their anniversary. Came over, brought over a bunch of food. Then comes back later, 2 huge chunks of 2 different types of cakes. I said, "Oh, get that away from me." Of course, I had a piece of it. Not the chocolate one, but more that white cake, whatever it was, it was really good. Temptation. But that's another thing too. I don't sit there and gorge my mouth with food. Doesn't mean I don't cheat, but predominantly what I eat is considered rather healthy. Bueno, Cano, Poopeye, it must be miserable to sit there and recast your show. Is he doing it again this morning? Well, don't forget he's in Florida time, so it's like whatever time it is here, it's 12 hours, whatever, over there. So it's, what is it? Well, let's just say, I don't know, let's say it's 6 o'clock here. So it's 6 p.m. over there. So it's his early evening. Well, you ain't got nothing to do with your life. What are you going to do? It's sad. Especially when you got one life to live, and Popeye to live the life the way he had never even legitimately bought his house. I mean, what would happen? It was a quit claim deed. Yeah. Popeye got his house on a quit claim deed. He didn't get along with his mother, but she sold out on a quit claim deed, quit claim that Popeye got the house. She needed money real bad. He wasn't helping her out at all, but she got desperate and sold it on a quit claim. That's how Popeye got the house. It wasn't like he was legitimately being, he was inheriting the house. He bought it on a quit claim for like X amount of dollars. Yeah, that's the story on that. Popeye legitimately has never owned a house. He's never bought a house on his own because he never could afford it. I can at least say that. I paid cash for this house. There's no mortgage on this house. I paid cash for it. No mortgage here. No mortgage here. I had a mortgage on my house in Hawaii, but I still had enough equity in the house to be kind of a comfortable amount of money, I would say. Well, let's just say it turned out okay. Timing was good. Actually, it was excellent. It was a seller's market for sure. I don't really miss the house. I miss some of the memories, but I love my lot. I had all kinds of plants and flowers and all kinds of great stuff. I have it here too, but I didn't have this house is not on a big lot. I had 2 acres in Hawaii, but a lot of it was ohia forest, which I never touched. And it's unfortunate though. A lot of people bought these lots in Hawaii and they strip the land. They completely strip it of all the trees. They don't need to. It's not like they're going to have some farm animals or something. Most of them don't. They just strip the whole land. And actually, investors, what they do, they buy lots and they'll strip the whole land and make it more attractive for somebody to buy it. They think that stripping the land of all the forest is a good selling factor. But the reason they strip it is they want to say, oh, look how big the land is. Now, where I lived, we call them spaghetti lots because they were narrow lots. They were only about 100 feet wide, and by what was it, 100 feet wide by 868. Let's see, what was 2 acres? The exact dimensions. I know it was only 100 feet wide, but the 2 acres was extended out in length rather than width. Okay. Yeah, it was only 100 feet wide. It wasn't a really wide lot. It wasn't like your typical rectangular lot. It's just kind of like, now all of them were like that. What's that, ML? Popeye is always talking about the good old days. He has lots of regrets how his life turned out. Yeah, I know. That's why he's so big on trying to find fault with people, because he's just miserable. He has to take it out of the people. He hasn't been laid since he was married, and even who knows if he even got laid then. Well, he had to get laid some point because he has a daughter, Maybe there was a one time his wife let him touch him, and he had a swimmer at the time. But it's real easy, anyone to get behind a computer and just, throw out a bunch of insults to somebody else. How is that going to fix their life, though? I don't understand that. I never did. How does it fix your life if you're not miserable and you have to take it out on other people because you just can't have their life? Like I said, I'm not wealthy, but I am wealthy. You put money to the side. Wealth does not always have to do with money. You could be rich and not have a lot of money. Wealth is not always something you acquire through family inheritance and so forth. Wealth is gold, but not in metal form. Wealth is having a great relationship and being happy where you are, being settled where you are, where a lot of people on here are not. That's where I'm wealthy. That's where I'm wealthy. If I didn't have a good relationship, well, hell, it's been almost 10 years. We'd be split up by now. I got a legitimate relationship as far as trust, as far as love, stability. You can't buy that. You can't buy that. You can't buy love. Like the Beatles said, money can't buy you love. Well, there's truth to that. Money cannot buy you love. It could buy you companionship, but it ain't going to buy you love. Optimus Prime, please describe the function of a quitclaim deed. I don't think you understand. Well, in a sense that somebody wants out of the property, and they want out really fast. It's almost like they're giving the property to somebody else for a few bucks. They don't care about the property, or they have other things going on. They're ill, they're going to die, whatever. They just want to, yeah. Go to ChatGPT. They could better explain what that is. What is a quick claim in regards to real estate? A quit claim. I'm trying to define it as best as I can, but it's when somebody wants out of a property, basically. They're not looking to get all this big money and all this shit. It's going to go in somebody else's hands for a couple of bucks, actually. Literally, for the paperwork. A quit claim deed. A deed is turned over to somebody else. And like the word says, quit claim. They're quitting their claim on the house and putting the deed in somebody else's name. Maybe a couple of bucks is involved with it, but that's it. It's not, something to that degree. Good morning, expat forever. But look it up on ChatGPT. Could certainly better explain it than I can. That's how he got his mother's house. It wasn't exactly an inheritance for Popeye. It was a quit claim deed. His real estate, his portfolio, it was all, people showed the paperwork. I think I even did on that house in Florida. Popeye never legitimately had money to ever buy a house. He could never afford to buy a house. But he did get it to his mother on a quit claim deed. Just look it up and come back and enlighten me a little bit more. I know a little about it, but I don't know how the process actually works. Yeah. Expat says, are you talking about, yeah, and is a way of transferring property into someone else's name? Yes. Popeye got that house from his mother on a quit claim deed. Okay, Optimus looked up. It is commonly used to transfer in low-risk situations like between family members. Stay in your lane. And, somebody could be having a financial problem. They just want to get out of the property, too much taxes, things are not going good for them. They'll relinquish the property to somebody else, do the paperwork and whatnot. Let them just deal with it, just to get out of the situation, I guess. I think that's probably proper to say. I got a good deal on the house I had in Seattle, actually. It was what was the deal on that? What was the deal on that? I got the house for 130,000. Now, it's not a fancy house, but it's a nice house and a really nice block too, and location. Excellent. Now it's worth about. I remember seeing some. I'm trying to remember my old address there. I could look it up again. I forgot my own address there. It's been such a while. Last time I ever looked at it, it was worth at least 500,000. Maybe more now. If I would have held on to it. But I had to. I had to get rid of it. I had to get rid of it. Kid moved out. The taxes and insurance was going up on that house like wildfire. Ridiculous taxes in Seattle, real estate. So I had to get out of that situation, man. That was around the time I was had to land in Hawaii, and all that thoughts about moving to Hawaii was going through my head. And I decided I would. So what I did was I sold the house. Then I moved into a dumpy apartment, a one-bedroom apartment, a little bit further north, not much, about 5 miles or so from where I had my house, an older building, a multiplex, whose owners were actually related or friends with the Norwegian girl that I used to date and knows the family very well. In fact, this guy is a guy who sold the Norwegian restaurant they had in Ballard to them. So when he knew that I knew them and all that stuff, he gave me a good deal on the place. I've only stayed there a few months before I left for Hawaii. He was real cool about it. I said, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. Told him straightforward. I said, I'll be going to Hawaii, but I need a place in the interim. So he was really cool. And some of the neighbors were kind of quirky, but they were funny too, though. They were all right. Some weirdos, though. We had bald. He was a real character. Anyone with a bald head seems to be a real character. Why is that? We had this bald guy, Chrome Dome. I forgot what we called him. But the good thing is the guy allowed dogs, and I had my dogs. That was cool too. So yeah. So that's where I stayed. On Ballinger Road. Yeah, I miss certain things about Washington State. I do, actually. The beauty of it too. But then you have to deal with the urban areas, which are just out of control. And even the area I used to live in now is a League of All Nations now. It's just, I don't know, went to shit. And holy crap, the rents went up like crazy. The house prices went up like crazy. Places become unaffordable after a while. You may like a certain state that you lived in, but if it becomes unaffordable, you can't live in that state. It's not getting any better. How many people want to make bets that Jim over in Cambodia is going to be leaving anytime soon? Yeah. He'll be burned out in Cambodia. Oh, but now the Big E wants to make a trip. I think tomorrow he's going to Cambodia, Phnom Penh, whatever you pronounce it. Want to go there just to show off a little bit. Well, since we've been hearing this guy Jim talking about him in Cambodia, we're going to make a trip, Phnom Penh, whatever, because he could. The world traveler, Well, good for him. That's all he's got going for himself, really. Like I always say, sure, I'd love to travel like that. I don't have that kind of money to travel all over the place. He's got a good gig going, so he's able to do that. But it sure as hell don't make him a better person than me. Money is not going to make you a better person than anybody. They think in their mind it does. They use it as like a garden tool. But it all comes up to bite them in the ass later on when their partners take them to the cleaners. And we've heard a lot of stories like that, haven't we? Yeah. Take him to the cleaners. And that's happened to him before. Even this guy. And we know why. So you're a loser if you don't have money. No. Definition of loser, it's composed of a lot of different elements to be a loser. It's not a person who doesn't have money don't make you a loser. It's your character. It's your whole demeanor. It's your whole persona that makes you a loser. It's your attitude. It's your nature that makes you and defines you as being a loser. Money does not even come into the equation of turning you into a loser to a winner. Everybody thinks it's revolved around money when it's not. It's character. And if you're a shitty character and you're a piece of shit, you're a turd ball, all the money in the world is not going to change who you are. You're just a turd ball with money. Well, I guess it's better to be a turd ball with money than to be a turd ball being broke, I guess. There's something to say about that. Yeah, I'll give that much. But when you use it as a tool to try to demean other people, that you don't have as much money as me and you can't travel like I can. Duh. Really? And that's what you got to go on in life? Oh, it's not your character. I mean, you're attacking people constantly all the time because even though you have money, you have a lot of inefficiencies and deficiencies and so forth. Well, let's see. What am I looking for here? Okay. Oh, okay. Optimist. What do you message retracted? What the hell is that? Retracting a message. What was I going to say? It was about Barry. I'm looking for something here. Hold on, guys. Yeah, it's my understanding that Barry's going to be in there for quite a while. I have actually spoken, which I haven't actually for a while, to my attorney. The information I got is the system is not going to budge with him. And he's going to stay in that cell for as long as it takes, for him to pay up his court-ordered penalties. I thought there was this thing with the subsidiary situation where they can't keep you in there. I don't know if that's changed or what, but that's what I heard. That the subsidiary penalty, of jail for not paying. I thought there was a there, but the court can choose to keep you in there as long as they want. Because I discussed that, and apparently, oh, I'm sorry, I read that comment already. I'm sorry, I'm reading an old comment. Apparently, he's going to be in there for a while. Well, hope he's happy where he is. No rent involved in that situation, huh? But as he says, you pay, you pay. And Barry is paying in his own way. Is he not? I'm going to breeze out here. It's a lovely morning, actually. Oh, what a breeze. On my little tropical chair here. Oh, it's beautiful. If I could have weather like this every day, I'd be a happy camper. Fuck, even the clouds. I take them too. If I got to have this kind of coolness. Nice. Very nice, actually. Well, I mean, truth is, you got to have sun now and then because you get pretty depressed sometimes. I lived in Seattle, I know. Living in Seattle is like living in England or something, where they use gray clouds, shower activity, and so forth. You got to have some sunlight now and then. You need the D vitamins from the sun. The sun basically just kind of energizes you. But when you've been living under that situation for a long time, it's a strange phenom, really. It's a strange phenom because when I lived in Washington State, I lived there a long time. I noticed that people were kind of used to this kind of veil of gray, and they got used to that. And they did welcome the sun when it came out. Every grandma with the grandkids were out with the strollers in the parks. Joggers were out in big numbers. But the difference was that it was like too much sunlight. The way of thinking was like, okay, I got my sunlight. It was great, but I want to go back to that doom and gloom skies because that's what I'm used to. Seriously, I know. I lived there a quarter of a century. And people actually got, believe it or not, more depressed when the sun came out for any length of time, like for weeks at a time, toward the end of the summer season. It would get hot. It would definitely get hot in Seattle, in Washington State. It did. And then they wished there were clouds again. And I heard that Washington State had bigger sales of sunglasses than California, if you can believe that. I said, there's no fucking way. But they did. Everybody's eyes were sensitive. Mine, what do you think? One of the reasons, the glare of the computer, mostly when I went on my laptop, okay, it would affect my eyes. And so I'd wear sunglasses a lot. I got used to that. Excuse me, it's the same as Alaska and Canada, Vancouver area. Same weather, the same weather system. Alaska's always gray skies, drizzling, a chill in the air, And it was different for Alaska, though, because the suicide rate compared to Washington State was like radically night and day difference, actually. It was actually night and day. Because the suicide rate in Alaska is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. They drink a lot in Alaska because they don't know what to do with themselves. It's generally too cold to hang out. Well, according with season, they get some warm weather too in Alaska, If you didn't know that. But during especially the cold seasons, cold spells and cold snaps and snow, and people spend a lot of time indoors and they drink. And a lot of kids and adults, but a lot of young people commit suicide or they try to get out of Alaska because it's too depressing in Alaska. Now, that's a fact. I don't make this shit up. That's actually a legitimate fact. Suicide rate is pretty high. Look it up on ChatGPT or whatever you want to do, whatever your resources are. I worked in Alaska. I wasn't there long. I was there twice, actually. And for the time I was there, I could definitely tell you, I don't know, I'd be on this barge or ship. I was on two different type of vessels. And you're on deck, and it was almost surreal. How do I explain this? You're looking out at this vista, and you see the mountains in the background covered with snow, and there's even a volcano you can see steaming, smoking out there. And everything was gray. The sky was gray. The water didn't show any blue. The water was gray. Everything was gray. Like you were looking at a black and white photograph or something. You didn't see a lot of coloration. Everything was gray, gray, gray. I could see how, but all the time, it'd be pretty depressing. Plus have cold air at the same time. Nah. I could never live in Alaska. No, that would be a place. I don't like cold weather anyway. Temperate? Yeah, I'm a temperate weather guy for sure. I love the Four Seasons. And I don't mean the band. I enjoyed when summer turned to fall and that cool air came in, enough to wear a little sweater or something, or a little sweatshirt or something, that coolness was so refreshing. To the beautiful, of course, on the East Coast, all the beautiful foliage from the trees in autumn. If you really want to see it, go up the coast. Any of these towns, Vermont and all that, Maine, all that shit. Beauty like a wonderland of color. Nature is very beautiful. Dean Brown was a photographer who did basically a lot of photographs of the New England coast areas. And he had and I don't know if it's called ironically, but he died by actually falling off a cliff while he was photographing nature. He has a book out, and I got to try to find something online. Dean Brown, and see if I see his photographs anywhere. Beautiful, beautiful photographs of fall foliage, brooks and streams, rivers, juxtaposed against the beautiful colors of nature with the different colored leaves, elm trees, oak trees, maple, just beautiful. Just beautiful. There's something to say about the New England coast, the New England areas that held such beauty. I used to love the any little town that was near the water, seaside places. Loved seaside places, that kind of maritime, kind of nautical thing, Boats anchored in the water, all these little shops along the streets that they had in these villages, selling all these souvenirs of knickknacks that look like a captain of a ship or a steering wheel or a ship's wheel or anything to do with, nautical stuff. And they even sold legitimate, brass window, ship windows, port window, they had everything in there. Then, of course, they had all the fish and chips shops around there, which were excellent. I'm not a big fish person, but I could eat cod, the really legitimate fish and chips. I could eat cod if it's breaded and fried. That and tuna fish, the only fish I really eat, other than, I could eat shrimp, prawns. partial to that. But there's something about the atmosphere of New England coast. New York wasn't really considered New England, but it sort of was. It really started with Rhode Island, really, and then upward north. But New York was still kind of on the list as New England. I mean, it was just at that borderline of being able to call New York New England. But it was definite New England when you stepped out of New York into like what, Rhode Island and continued, you know. Maine, you had Vermont, you had Maine, you had Massachusetts, had really beautiful towns near the water, seaside towns. I like seaside towns. That whole, I don't know, I call it a nautical feel, you know, maritime, you know. Expat says, Frank, I just listened to Jay's live stream. Are you really? I heard that too. You're listening to Jay, mind you now, okay? Who's selling my house? Nobody's selling my house. That's Jay speaking. That's why Barry made a comment on Ricky's show last night. I liked your show, Jay. Frank has to sell his house. Nobody's selling. My house is not being sold. I hope that answers your question. That's just Jay. What do you expect to come out of the mouth of Jay? No, nobody's selling a house. My house ain't going anywhere for no reason. It's going anywhere. Whether I died, whether I was in jail, whether I was deported or whatever, no, the house is not going anywhere. It's her house. It's always going to be. It's her future. She ain't going nowhere. As far as I know, I ain't going nowhere either. But no, to answer your question, no, nobody's selling my house. My house is not being sold. That's just Jay's bullshit. Just like Jay has a legitimate paperwork on me, right? That there was a resolution. You remember that one? That he had the resolution. A resolution that the immigration has never made. But Jay had the paperwork for it. Okay, got my point. Nonstop, isn't it? Nonstop. I see we're getting into that shit again. It's building up. I knew when I got back on, it was going to build up again. But I expected that. You're getting information from people that are complete losers by every definition of the word. Jay has to live at his mommy's house, okay? Jay has probably never had a legitimate girlfriend, but he's also a louse too because he's got some children in the Philippines. He don't even pay any kind of support for them at all. He comes in and out of the Philippines, but he won't help the children out. So Jay can't talk about anybody besides being a chain smoker and being a very legitimate drinker who also looks like a fucking aborigine. With all that under his belt, I'd label him a fucking loser. Yeah, that's a good definition of a loser right there. Jay. There you go. You want to define somebody as such. Jay. Some people will never change, though. They want to prey on other people, and they get off on that, preying on other people behind the camera. There's a lot of people that wanted to meet Jay and kick his ass, and Jay would always find a way out of it. And when things were not going great and people were really attacking, Jay would remove his channel. How many times has he done that? Or he'd come on his channel. This is more typical for Jay. Jay would say a lot of shit on his show that he would take every single video off. There'd be no content, take every single video. That's after he's been attacked by people. when the heat was on him and people were getting really pissed at him, he'd retreat and take every single show off there. Everything. He still does that. He still does that. He's like what I call I think I labeled him the hit and run guy. Because he'll come out with a lot of juicy shit against people, some bullshit, attacking people. But then he'll go into retreat. You may not hear from him for months and months and months. And he'll take every single shorts, anything he put on there, he'll take everything off. Everything. That's Jay. Boy, that's really kind of strong tea. Lemon's pretty damn strong. But as I said, it's more medicinal than taste. I like lemonade, but to make good lemonade, you gotta put sugar in it. I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather incorporate lemon into mix it up with cucumbers and put in the blender, cucumbers and other stuff, put it in the blender and make a really nice drink out of that. Okay, so what else is going on? What's going on Discord? I haven't heard anybody talk about Discord. What's the word of the day on Discord? But no, I'll answer that question again. No, nobody's selling any house here. Barry was hanging on Jay's words. Of course, Barry believes everybody. Well, it's more like wishful thinking when it comes to Barry. He's wishing that would happen. No, my relationship is solid. The house is not going anywhere. Nobody has any intent to sell the house. So I hope that answers your question. There you go. House ain't going nowhere. Ain't going nowhere. So if you have any questions about anything that you need to bring forward or get straightened out, just ask me. I'm the one that you have to ask when you hear a lot of scuttlebutt. Ask me. If it was about me, why not ask me about it? Not going by some hearsay or some bogus source of information, you know. If you want a legitimate answer, you just ask me. That's it. Well, I'm going to finish this tea. Then let's see, what am I going to do first here? I'm not sure what I want to have to eat this morning. It's still early to eat. I don't have to eat this early. I don't know. I may head up a little bit of exercise or something and get that out of the way and then eat. Let's see, what was on my agenda today? I knew I had to do something today, and I'm trying to think. Oh, well, it might be a good day. Might be a good day to paint the entryway inside the house here, because it's pretty damn cool. It feels good. It's not that hot. I was also thinking of taking the old air conditioner and putting that in the dining room. That may not happen for a while. I'm going to find a coil for this and somebody to put it in. It needs a copper coil. This was a Samsung. And the bad thing about the Samsung split air, just to save you some money, if you're considering buying a Samsung, generally Samsung is not a bad brand, but in regards to their air conditioners, they don't use a copper coil in there. I forgot what it's made of. And it doesn't last. And you're always going to have trouble with the coil leaks or something in there. Yeah. So we still got the air conditioner. It's in good shape other than the coil. I just got to find a place to get the coil because we could put that puppy right in the dining room. We don't really need an air conditioner here, but it'd be nice to use it sometime just for dinner. I got this wall-mounted fan, but we got this nice Westinghouse here stand, which is really very powerful, actually. What did we pay for that? It wasn't even that terribly expensive. We paid, I don't know, what was it, 7,000 pesos for this fan? Well worth it. Though it did break down on us, though, but we actually found somebody that legitimately knew how to fix it. It stopped working. All you'd hear is a hum, and the blades barely wanted to turn. So one guy came over and he had it temporarily fixed and went right back to where it was. But we found one guy that was really very talented with electrical work, and he got this puppy running like new. So that's what we use here. It's got really good power. Gilda don't want me to use it on number 3. Too cold or too powerful. She'd rather put it on low. I mean, I don't need an air conditioner in my dining room, but I'm saying since I have one and it would cost relatively, not a big amount of money to get it running. Of course, to get it mounted in here and all that stuff, they got to go through the top wall of the door. The only place I can see is above the door. And one other place. No, it'd be, my side door. Yeah, it would be awfully nice to be able to sit for dinner and have it nice and cool in here. But it's not that it gets that hot in my dining room during dinner. With you're only in the dining room to eat mostly, and a fan is quite adequate, actually. I'm just saying that since I have the air conditioner, I like to put it to use. Yeah, it's a split air. Yeah, that's what we have in here. I got 2 split airs. I got what is it? A 1 horsepower. Oh, which one did I have in my room? I think I got a 2 horse and a 1 horse, or it's a 1.5 and a 1. I forgot which room had the. You definitely don't need a 2 horsepower in this house, though. You don't need a 2 horse, although that's probably pretty good to get if you're going to get an air conditioner. If you want more coverage than an air conditioner, these rooms that it's in, it's not made for a 2 horse. It's ridiculous to have a 2 horsepower because you don't need a 2 horsepower in these rooms. You just want to freeze your ass. You don't need that power, that cooling power. As I said, I don't even turn my air conditioner on when I go to sleep anymore. I cool down the room. As I used to do at the other house. I cool down the room and just turn on a fan. We got a ceiling fan, a nice one. That's all we need for the rest of the night. Cool the room down. That's all you got to do. It saves electricity and wear and tear on the air conditioner too. Which reminds me, yes, I got to clean the filters off here. And brought to my attention that I want to buy a HEPA filter. Now, of course, Big E would know all about this. But you want to get, for household, you want to get a rating of HEPA 13. Am I wrong, Big E? Yeah, HEPA 13. And just measure the size of your room to get the appropriate air purifier. But make it a HEPA 13. Find a good model. And there are some good brands if you want to buy a HEPA 13. But if you could find, that's the problem. Find one that, a lot of these HEPA 13 filters you have to replace. And I want something, I guess it would exist, something you could clean off, you could wash off. Yeah, I have, it's HEPA on my air conditioners. The screens that are on it, those are HEPA filters on these particular air conditioners we have here. And all we do is slide them out of there, take it under some soapy water and scrub all the shit off. You'll see how much dust comes off there, how many allergens. Yeah, if you want to, since we all have allergies around here and shit, we have dogs and blah, blah, blah. It's a good idea. I don't know why I didn't buy one a long time ago. I really don't know. I guess because I couldn't find one that I thought was efficient enough to actually work. Because I never trusted these household air purifiers, these stand-up air purifiers you plug in. Unless you want to have a good HVAC job, you want to have a floor-mounted grill. My house in Seattle, Yeah, we had these grills, vents on the floor in every room of the house, and this had some good filters. We had a furnace which was under the house. You go in the garage, and there was a doorway underneath there. You could get into there, and we had a really good system. It was a heater, but it was also had it filtered the house. Dog dander. Oh God, one day I made a mistake. I made a big mistake. What a cleaning job that was. I had oak floors in the house, right? And I know how to finish floors. I decided to rent a drum sander, a big ass drum sander. And of course, I wore a mask. But let me tell you, man, the mistake I made, I figured, well, turn on the system, the vent, turn it on and filter all this sawdust that was flying around like there was no tomorrow. Clogged the damn thing up. I went down there and holy shit, the filter on there, it was caked with sawdust. Just caked with sawdust. But I wanted to do that because I wanted to get all that dust out of the air. So I sanded the floor down. I even finished it. And it looked so good. I brought that floor to life. Looked like new. I remember I had this woman friend I know that I hadn't seen for a while. And she actually worked for the electric company. She didn't even know I owned a house. She got shocked. I can't believe Frank owns a house. She was going to come in. And she looked at the floor. And she just stopped. She thought it was wet. I said, no, the floor's glossy. It's been finished. And then she came in. It looked that good. I did such a great job on there. But when you're going to do a floor like that, you're going to have to get some microfiber material and you're going to have to go over that floor like crazy before you put a finish on there. Now, I didn't use a stain or anything. I just used a clear finish on there on the oak. It looked fantastic. I mean, it really looked like the floor was wet. It looked really good. Really good. Real character really change when it's. I'm not sure what this person's saying here, so I'm just get rid of them. But at a great expense to my lungs, really. I mean, even with a mask on, those drum sanders, man, they kick up a storm. I always loved hardwood floors. I think that probably wouldn't work very well out here. But the environment I lived in, the hardwood floors were excellent in the Northwest. But I always loved oak. I even had some antique furniture back in Seattle at one point, English oak, some nice dining room table and chairs and so forth. Loved it. But I did a good job. I'm not sure where I learned how to finish a floor, but you got to know how to hold on to that beast. It's powerful. That drum sander is powerful. And you can't hold it in place for any set period of time because you're going to gouge out the wood. You're going to eat it up. You're going to see depressed areas in there. So you got to know how long to hold it on the floor. You got to have just a constant flow. Keep it in motion. Go up one way, come back down the next strip down. Don't keep it in one place for any length of time. Just enough for it to strip the floor to do what it has to do. But if you keep it in one place, it's going to eat up the floor. It looked good, I must say. I was proud of myself. I had this job one time. I want to mention this. That didn't last long, and neither did the other workers. Over in the Ballard area of Seattle, there was a guy that did, furniture refinishing. So it was down below, like an underneath garage he used of the business. You go down the driveway down below, and he'd have furniture down there, and he had a compressor, whatever. We would be spraying down this furniture with this stripper. And he had a fan that wasn't good enough though, that would blow out up the driveway, to get all the fumes out. And we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. I don't know what it cost the guy in the solvent. We were spraying down this one piece of furniture like there was no tomorrow to strip it down. And you're really only supposed to spray it a bit, get it soaked in there a bit, and let it sit on there for a while. But we were inundating this furniture like I said, like there's no tomorrow. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We really didn't know. But the place with the fumes from that shit, there was no way in the world I was going to stay on that job. I like, furniture restoration. That's kind of cool to see the end product of your work. I love that. But some pretty powerful stuff he was using as a stripper. And there was no way in the world, a cloth mask was not going to do the job. You really had to find appropriate masks that had to do with like gases and so forth. Barry's lawyer. Popeye's one Gilda's boyfriend sanded the floor down. This is what you do with your time, really. All right, I've been on here for a while. I got to get something to eat or something, I guess. Thanks for tuning in, my boys. It's been a phenomenal show. Thanks for the dialogue. Am I coming to that point of no return? It's kind of getting to that point here. The vortex is spinning around again. I don't know. I'm always back and forth on this. But they're all dying like flies. They're dropping like flies. That's a positive sign. So I don't know. Maybe we'll stick with it here. Ah, and I get a chuckle out of some of these comments too, and who it's coming from. That's the best part. You can make a statement about somebody, but let's examine the source of that statement. That's all you got to do. And you can have a good chuckle over who it's coming from and why. And why. Is Popeye simulcasting me again? Popeye, I'll even try to help you. I don't know. What can I do for you? You got to do things for yourself. I can't find you a woman. I can't change your life. You got to want to change your own life. Nobody could do that for you but yourself. God, find some old hag somewhere. At least you have some company, man. You don't have to take out your frustrations online and take it out on me. Go get laid. Imagine what that could do for you. Feel alive again, man. Feel alive. Get laid. Go find some blue-haired lady that'll take you, even for the night. I think it'll do your attitude wonders. I believe it would. I really do.
All right. There you go. All right. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Yeah, there we go. I got it back. All right. So where do we start? Let's start at the beginning. Okay. Let's start with the very first lie. I didn't get ripped off 23,000 pesos. Bang. Second lie. Hides behind a bush. Well, a palm tree. And says he's in Mactan. Right? Lie number 2. Right? Then he hooks up with Gilda. Swears up and down him and Gilda got married. There's another lie. Right? And all of these lies he has admitted. Okay? Lie after lie after fucking lie. And I'm the one saying bad things about him. I'm not the guy that called Dimples a whore and said I would piss on her if she was in the gutter. No, I'm not the one who did that. I'm not the one that molested a polio girl named Nika in a wheelchair while her mother was in the other room. Nope. I didn't do that. Nope. Who did that? Oh, yes, Frank did that. Oh, yeah, drive safe, Chasing Tail. And I could keep going down and down the line. I'm not the one that got upset. Yeah, I mean, when RRR rejected him, he got all pissed off. Right? He made up all kinds of lies about Dave's wife, said all kinds of horrendous things about Dave's wife. He said all kinds of horrendous things about Holly. He said all kind of horrendous things about Nika. He said all kinds of horrendous things about Brutally Lauren. He said all kinds of fucking horrendous things about Dave. He even went on live air and bared his ass to everybody. I'm not the one that got caught molesting an 8-year-old boy and singing fucking Mushroom Man song in reference to another man's penis. I'm not the one that did that. I'm not the one who trampled on Fazio's grave. I'm not the one that trampled on Ed's grave. No, I've done this is all you, Frank. You're projecting. You're the bad person. I'm not the one that's owes $60,000 in a lawsuit back in Hawaii. No, that's you, Frank. You owe that. You should be wavering. You should be getting off YouTube. Thank you, ET. And this guy has done all this shit. This guy has said horrendous things about Shaw and won't own up to it. Eh? He's the one who's done all this shit. Period. All right. Now, let's end the poll and see what we got. So here you go, Frank. Poll results. Do you think Frank is a pedophile? 52% say yes. 36% say no. 12% say for sure. That's out of 33 votes. 33 votes, man. So resoundingly, You are a fucking pedophile, Frank. Eh? Poor little fella. He can't help it. He's evil. I agree with you, Steve. Sound of Music. Let's begin with ABC. And, you know, and then this guy has never met me and proclaims to know what my relationship was with my mother. Dude, I don't know what relationship Frank had with his mother, but maybe he's projecting. Okay? I have no idea. I I mean, this guy can make up a story on a dime, okay? On a dime. And then he sits there and complains, "Well, people who inherit money don't have my respect." Dude, nobody cares, Frank, whether you respect them or not, because, Frank, you're a turd in the punch bowl, eh? You're a turd in the punch bowl. I don't need your respect. I'm not gonna lose any sleep if you disrespect me, Frank, okay? But, Frank, when you started talking about karate yesterday and how you know all the katras and I could still do it if I had to, Frank, let me tell you a secret. You're only saying that because probably somebody threatened you, okay? When you talk shit about so many different channels, sooner or later somebody's going to threaten you, Frank. And it's not going to be fucking pretty. And sooner or later, Frank, somebody's going to get so pissed that they're going to take it to the real world. I don't think I can name a channel that you haven't fucked with. Eh? You've fucked with everybody in this genre. Eh? And that guy, Jim in Cambodia, you should pray he never comes back to the Philippines. Because I guarantee you that guy will beat your ass. Eh? Your mouth is writing checks that your fucking hummingbird ass cannot cash, Frank. And it's all coming due. Okay? And how's it coming due? Dude, you are not getting out of this situation. You are in on hold departure. You cannot leave the Philippines until this immigration complaint is resolved. And you aggravating immigration with all these manifestations and phone calls and emails, you're only pissing them off even more and more. They'll probably say, "Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your email. Thank you, sir, for your phone call." And they'll smile in your face. But when they hang that phone up, they finish reading that email, dude, your shit's going to the bottom of the pile every fucking time. That's how it works. Oh, that'd be fucking hilarious. Steve 25901 says, "How funny would it be if Jim and Jay paid him a visit?" Right? Uh, Jim and Jay come paid you a visit, motherfucker. I mean, what they do, I don't know what they would do. I'm not telling them to do that, but it's a possibility. I mean, like I said before, your dump truck mouth is overriding your fucking hummingbird ass. Okay? Uh, dude. And if you're so upset with me, whenever you can break free from the Philippines, you could come here to Florida and I'll have a little chat with you. Okay. And we'll see what's what. But like I always say, Frank, you're my dog, and my dogs come to me. I'm not fucking traveling 15-hour flight to come beat your ass. No. If you hate me that much, come here and see me. You know where I live, right? Oh man, Frank, you're such a fucking dickhead. Hey. So we all know, Frank, that 60% consider you a fucking pedophile. Now, Frank, I've called you a pedophile for 7 long live streams in a row. Where's my lawsuit? Frank's sleep under your bed to find out. Don't knock too hard when he goes boom, boom, buys. And, you know, so Frank, you really should stop making up fucking stories. What else have you done, Frank, that I could talk about? Oh, let's see. You fucking blew 2 million pesos on a loan sharking scheme called 5-6. Yep, takes a fucking rocket scientist to do that. See, Frank, what you don't understand, you went there as a poor boy, okay? You went there with a certain amount of cash and you only had one shot at it. And what did you do? You picked up a 40-year-old woman that's got 8 kids. You helped take care of those kids and you bought her a house. Mick Fisher in the live chat just told me the house is in Gilda's name and she told them it's her house and she pays the bills. That's what she told Mick Fisher. So you're going to call your loving girlfriend a liar? You don't own a house. You may have paid for one, but you don't own it. Okay? You didn't own a house in Hawaii. It wasn't paid for, Frank. It was Section 8 housing. The government owned that house. You were just the landlord. Okay? And you barely made any money off it when you got out. And what did you do? You came to the Philippines. You hooked up with a Filipina that's got 8 kids and is actually married. And you bought her that house. You don't own it. You don't own it. She owns it, Frank. Frank, she owns you now. She could throw you out at any time. All she has to do is call the barangay. They'll escort your ass right fucking out of there. If I was you, I would be extra nice to her. Okay? Extra nice. Okay? Because you're not in a position to go anywhere else. Not when you're making only $1,400 a month. You can't do shit with that. You depleted all your funds on the court cases. Frank, you are one fucking delusional idiot. Okay? You have nothing left, Frank. And when they decide to throw you out or put you in jail, where are you going to go next? You can't go back to the West Coast. You can't go back to Seattle, California, whatever liberal fucking shithole you came from. You definitely can't go back to New York. Eh? You can't afford it. How are you going to survive on $1,400 a month anywhere on the West Coast? You're not. You're not going to survive on that even in Florida, one of the cheapest states to live. You can't even survive on that in West Virginia, where 80% of the population is below poverty line. Okay? You can't. You're fucked. So the best thing you can do is shut the fuck up, take another Xanax, okay? There's another problem you have. You're hooked on Xanax, Lexapro. You suck down Benadryl to sleep. You actually add the Benadryl so you can get to sleep, okay? Because the Xanax alone should put you to sleep, but not anymore because your body's building a tolerance to it. You said you quit, but you didn't. You can't. Okay? Your body won't let you quit that shit. And that shit was only for short term usage. And the other half of it should have been therapy with a psychiatrist, but you never did that. Right? Yeah, you missed the tiny tyrant. He was in rare form tonight. So, Frank, maybe you can survive in Cambodia in some little rickety shithole. Right? And I have no idea. But dude, I don't think you realize how much trouble you're in. You're in a lot of trouble, Frank. And being on YouTube and talking shit about Barry and all these other channels, that's not doing you any favors. Right? That is not doing you any favors whatsoever. So, Frank, I strongly suggest, in my closing words tonight, shut the fuck up because your dump truck mouth is overriding your hummingbird ass. And that little hummingbird ass cannot cash the checks that your fucking big mouth wrote. Okay? Sooner or later, Frank. And guys, thanks for coming in tonight. That is my monologue on the frail situation tonight. Take it, leave it, throw it out the window. It's all up to you guys. Popeye, he knows karate. Hi-ya! Dun 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 dun. All right, guys, thanks for coming out. And I'll catch you on the flip side. And you have a good weekend. All right. This is Popeye One. I'm out of here.